Imagine two sovereign nations sharing a 600-kilometer boundary without a single concrete wall, barbed wire fence, or military blockade to separate them. This is the Terai region of Uttar Pradesh. For nearly 600 kilometers, across 7 distinct districts, the border between India and Nepal remains entirely open. This is the 1950 Treaty of Peace and Friendship. It legally established an open, porous boundary between the two countries. From decades, it has fostered what locals call the Roti-Beti, or bread and marriage, relationship. Citizens cross freely for trade, work, and family, with zero need for visas or passports. But a treaty written for post-colonial diplomacy now operates in an era of organized syndicates and transnational crime. The complete lack of physical barriers has created an ideal operating environment for bad actors. By strictly maintaining this historical openness, the Terai region has inadvertently become the soft underbelly of India's internal security. In border security, there is a concept known as tactical displacement. When a state fortifies one entry point, adversaries simply map out the path of least resistance. Over the last 2 decades, India has heavily militarized its primary frontiers, deploying thousands of troops, sensors, and advanced fencing along the western border with Pakistan. Facing these impenetrable defenses, terror networks linked to groups like Lashkar-e-Taiba and Jaish-e-Mohammed have adapted. They now route their operatives through the unmonitored forests of Nepal to execute what is known as silent transit. Once across the invisible line, sleeper cells can blend seamlessly into the civilian population and take local transit directly into densely packed urban centers like Lucknow or Kanpur. By exploiting the open treaty, international threat networks completely bypass India's most heavily funded military perimeters. The exploitation extends well beyond terrorism. The unregulated crossings serve as an uninterrupted logistics corridor for transnational smuggling. This visualization tracks the inflow of fake Indian currency notes. Syndicates use the Nepal route to pump high volumes of counterfeit cash directly into Uttar Pradesh, a deliberate tactic to destabilize the regional economy. The human toll is equally severe. Criminal networks leverage the lack of checkpoints to traffic women and children across the border for forced labor and exploitation. At the same time, intelligence agencies track a steady flow of unregulated external funding reaching unregistered NGOs and religious institutions in these border districts, driving localized demographic volatility and radicalization. The state is facing a multi-vector threat matrix. Economic sabotage, human trafficking, and radicalization are converging on a single, unguarded stretch of land. This creates a severe policy paradox for the Indian government. They must secure a massive, vulnerable frontier against highly organized threats, but international law dictates they cannot build a physical wall. The solution is the Smart Border Strategic Response Framework. Instead of concrete, the state relies on a 3-layered, invisible net of technology and intelligence. The first layer consists of integrated checkposts at major crossings like Roti-Beti. Here, biometric verification systems scan for flagged individuals and known criminals, allowing legitimate commercial and civilian traffic to flow without interruption. The second layer pushes intelligence operations forward. The state has expanded specialized anti-terrorism squads directly into these border districts to proactively hunt sleeper cells before they can move inland. But technology has blind spots in dense forests. The third layer relies on the Sashastra Seema Bal, the paramilitary force tasked with patrolling the rugged terrain and implementing community policing. These forces integrate directly with local border village committees. They empower residents who have lived on this land for generations to act as the eyes and ears of the state where cameras cannot reach. Securing the UP-Nepal border requires an incredibly delicate balance. By deploying smart technology and localized intelligence, India protects its national sovereignty. while preserving a cultural relationship that has defined the region for over 70 years.